Hello there, welcome to Venture Capital with me, Katie Pilbeam, where we're going to be discussing some of the week's biggest business news stories, find out what's been moving and shaking the global markets, got corporate news coming up and exclusive interviews. We've got a jam-packed show, so stay put. Now we're going to get stuck in and talk about China, because the world's second largest economy has been setting off all kinds of alarm bells this week. It's now on track for its poorest performance since 1990. After growing at an average annual rate of just under 10% for the last 33 years, the latest figure of 7.5% is causing concern.
It's the news we didn't want to hear from China. Its manufacturing sector, the backbone of its economy, continues to slow.
More signs of weakness in the world's second largest economy.
We've got an economy which just isn't slowing, Trish. It's an economy that's collapsing.
Considering parts of Europe are dealing with flat or even negative growth right now, why all the fuss over China then? Well, firstly, let's take a look at what 7.5% of China's economy actually equates to. Well, it equals the whole of Switzerland's economy, one of the wealthiest economies in Europe. So if China's growth was to stay at this rate, the country would be adding the whole of the Swiss economy to its balance sheet every year, or 3 Greeces, if you put it like that even. So, is 7.5% such a disaster? Well, right now I'm joined by Andy Shea here, former Morgan Stanley Chief Asia-Pacific Economist, joining me from Hong Kong today. So, Andy, can you tell me, what do you make of this 7.5%? Is it such a disaster?
Well, I think China is going through a necessary phase of adjustment, rebalancing the economy. Over the last 5 years, China boosted investment too much, partly to support the global economy because of the financial crisis. But the investment has led to overcapacity. So there's a need to scale back investment.
Right. Do you think maybe China is a victim of bubbles, perhaps?
After 2008, the Western countries cut interest rates dramatically, so the hard money started to flow into the emerging economies. And China did receive a lot of hard money. My calculation would be significantly more than $1 trillion US. That partly contributed to this real estate bubble in China, and it's part of this overinvestment story. Now, as the Western countries are preparing to tighten monetary policy, in particular in the United States, so we are seeing hot money leaving China.
But are the glory days over for China?
Well, I think that the people used to be very bullish about China, ignoring all the problems. Now they are all becoming very bearish, thinking that China's growth is over. I think this is wrong. And as I pointed out before, that China had a bubble and needed to go through adjustment. Now, I think we should not be writing China off. China's per capita income is only $6,000 US, and it's got a lot of upside. Chinese people are very productive, and probably the most productive people in the world today. And considering they're paid so little, so there's a lot of upside potential. I still believe that China will reach $20,000 US per capita income by 2030, and that will make China the largest economy in the world.
And moving on to the Ukraine, because right now the ex-Soviet country is torn between 2 trade zones. Now, as you can see, stuck right in the middle just there. Now, Ukraine faces a choice: either go for the EU free trade zone or join the customs union with Russia. Now, if Ukraine chooses to go westwards, it would become part of the biggest trade bloc in the world. But the question is whether it'll be worth it. The country would be expected to spend money in order to meet European standards for infrastructure, the environment and the quality of their goods. Plus, Ukraine enjoys oil and gas discounts due to their close relationship with Russia. If the country enters the EU, then they would be expected to pay the same price as the rest of the EU countries. Now, trade with Russia is expected to decrease by up to $2 billion annually. On the other hand is the option of joining the customs union. Now, this will leave the trade with the EU at the same level that it is now, at the same time boosting exports to Russia